Ladies, let's cut through the noise for a moment. In a world where mixed signals are sold as mystery and inconsistency is passed off as passion, let's talk facts. Let's talk truth. You don't need to chase clarity, because when someone is falling hard for you, you will know. Not through grand speeches, but through undeniable signs. Here are 5 powerful, unshakable signs that he's not just interested, he's falling hard. When a man is falling hard, you'll feel like a part of his inner circle. Not an afterthought, he makes space for you in his life, in his time, in his plans. You're not left wondering when he'll text or whether you're too much, because to him you're not too much, you're the one. The one who fits into his goals, not distracts from them. If he's reshuffling his world to make room for you, take note, that's not casual, that's real. He doesn't just hear you, he listens to your dreams. Your rants, your random thoughts at 2 a.m., he remembers the things that matter to you because they matter to him. He's not doing it to impress, he's doing it because he cares. When a man starts caring about your little wins, your heartbreaks, your childhood memories, that's not infatuation. That's emotional investment. Anyone can show up when you're glowing, when you're winning, when you're at your best. But the man who's falling hard, he's there when life gets messy, when you're insecure, when you're exhausted, when you're struggling to love yourself, and he's loving you harder. That's the man who's not just into your highlight reel, he's into your truth, and that means everything. When a man is genuinely falling for you, he doesn't just make plans, he makes you a priority. This isn't about checking in occasionally or squeezing you into his already packed life like an obligation. No, it's intentional, it's consistent, it's effortless in its effort. A man who is falling hard doesn't have to be reminded of your worth. He sees it, respects it, and naturally reshapes parts of his world to make room for you in it. You don't feel like an option, you feel seen, you feel chosen. You begin to notice that you're no longer the one chasing the conversation. He's reaching out, not out of duty, but because he genuinely wants to hear your voice, know how your day went, and share pieces of his own life with you. You're not just part of his routine, you become part of his rhythm. And this shift doesn't come with grand declarations. It comes with the way he texts you back promptly when you need him. It's in the way he remembers your schedule, checks in when you have something important, or shows up when you least expect it but most need it. It's easy to mistake temporary attention for commitment, but prioritization is different. Attention can be fleeting. Anyone can give you moments when it's convenient. Prioritization, on the other hand, is a consistent choice. It's him taking a detour from a busy day just to see you for 5 minutes. It's him saying no to plans that pull him away from your quality time. It's not about neglecting his life. It's about finding a balance where your presence is a valuable part of his life, not an afterthought. People fall into the trap of believing that when a man is busy, silence means he cares in his own way. But love doesn't thrive in ambiguity. If he's falling hard, his choices will reflect that without you having to constantly guess or interpret silence as depth. You won't need to decode his feelings. They'll be loud in his actions. He'll want to talk to you, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Not just when it's exciting, but even in the mundane. When a man prioritizes you, there's an emotional safety that builds. You start trusting that he's going to be where he says he'll be. You stop waiting by the phone, wondering if you said too much, cared too deeply, or came off too strong. Why? Because he meets your energy. He reflects your sincerity. He matches your pace without making you feel like you're asking for too much. That is what real prioritization feels like. And it's not just about spending time. It's about the quality of the time he spends with you. He's not scrolling through his phone, half listening. He's locked in. He's present. Whether it's a 5-minute call or a whole weekend together, you feel the intention behind it. He isn't doing this for the sake of keeping you around. He's doing it because he values what you bring into his life. You make him feel something deeper, and he's smart enough not to take that for granted. A man falling hard doesn't just want you in his life. He starts needing your presence to feel whole. Not in a way that's unhealthy or dependent, but in a way that reminds him how much better life is when you're around. And he doesn't wait for some perfect time to show you that. He shows you now with what he has, with what he can give. That's the mark of someone who isn't just passing through. That's someone who's rooted. That's someone who's all in. When a man is truly falling hard for you, he doesn't just hear what you say, he listens. Deeply, genuinely, he leans in, not just with his ears, but with his whole being. He's not waiting for his turn to speak or brushing past your words with empty nods. He's tuned in, focused. Every word you speak, every story you share, becomes meaningful to him, not because he's trying to impress you, but because he wants to understand you. And that desire to understand is what separates interest from emotional connection. You'll notice the difference in the way he engages with your thoughts. You tell him something once, your favorite childhood movie, the kind of flowers you love, the song that makes you feel seen, and he remembers. Not because he had to, but because it stuck. Because when he's falling, the details about you naturally lodge themselves in his memory. He starts referencing little things you've mentioned in passing, things even you forgot you said. That's the power of listening when it comes from the heart. It remembers, it values, it holds space. This kind of listening goes beyond words. He picks up on your moods, the subtle shift in your tone, the pause in your sentence when something is off. He can sense when you're overwhelmed even before you say it, because he's attuned to you, not just your words, but your energy. That's a man who's emotionally invested. That's a man who's paying attention not just to the surface, but to the soul behind it. It's easy to be physically present and emotionally absent, but a man who's falling for you is fully there, in the moment, in your joy and in your pain. He wants to know what fuels you, what breaks you, what lifts you up. He asks questions not because he's curious in the moment, but because he wants to know how to show up for you better. He listens to your dreams not to flatter you, but to figure out how he fits into that future. He listens to your fears not to judge, but to protect. And what's beautiful is that through his listening, he begins to evolve. He starts showing up in ways that reflect what you need. You mentioned once that you feel disconnected when someone goes days without checking in. So now, he checks in, even if it's just a voice note or a good morning message. You shared that acts of service make you feel loved. So now he's showing up with small, thoughtful gestures. He's learning your emotional language and speaking it fluently, because that's what love does when it listens. A man who listens deeply also creates space for you to be fully yourself. You never feel rushed to finish your sentence or filter your emotion. You're not afraid to speak up, to ramble, to cry, to vent. He listens with patience and, more importantly, with care. You feel seen, not just heard, and that is rare. That is sacred. In a world full of noise, a man who quiets everything around him to hear you, that man is falling. That man is feeling, that man is serious, because when love is real, listening becomes an act of devotion. It's a reflection of where his heart is, and if his ears are open, his heart probably is too. When a man is falling hard for you, it becomes most obvious in your toughest moments. Anyone can be around when the sun is shining, when your energy is magnetic and your life looks like a highlight reel. But when things get heavy, when you're low, overwhelmed, or doubting yourself, that's when the truth shows. That's when real feelings step up. A man who's truly falling for you doesn't disappear when you're struggling. He leans in, he shows up, not because he has all the answers, but because his heart won't let him leave you standing alone. It's easy to love someone at their best, but it takes depth, care, and emotional commitment to love someone at their most unfiltered. When you break down in frustration, he doesn't make you feel like a burden. When you're silent, withdrawn, or anxious, he doesn't demand you snap out of it. Instead, he gives you space, but not distance. He checks in. He asks, "What do you need right now?" Or sometimes he just holds you and says nothing at all. Because presence is powerful, and when words don't help, his support speaks volumes. When a man is falling, your emotions don't scare him, they guide him. He wants to understand what hurts you, what triggers you, what you've been through. And when the darkness creeps in, he doesn't panic or retreat. He becomes your anchor. He doesn't lecture you to stay positive or try to fix you. He lets you feel, he lets you cry, and he stays. In those moments, you learn what kind of love he's offering. Is it surface level comfort, or is it rooted in resilience? When he stays through your storm, it's because he's emotionally invested in all of you, not just the happy, smiling version. He wants the whole picture, even the messy strokes. He values the person underneath the strength you always show the world, and that's where true connection grows. In the vulnerability, not just in the victories. He becomes someone you can rely on, not just when life is easy, but when it's downright unfair. When everything in you wants to hide from the world, he brings softness. When yourself, doubt screams loud, he reminds you who you are, not by preaching, but by reflecting your power back to you. Gently, consistently. That's when you realize he's not just falling in love with your potential or your presence, he's falling in love with your truth, and the beautiful part, he doesn't see your hard moments as flaws, he sees them as a privilege to witness. You're not too much for him when you unravel. He doesn't retreat. He wraps himself around your chaos and says, "You don't have to go through this alone." That's how you know his love is real. Because when life tests you and he chooses to stand by you, not out of obligation, but out of devotion, that's love in its rawest form. Not everyone can handle the depth of your emotions. Not everyone will have the emotional maturity to hold space for your dark days. But the man who's falling hard for you, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't run, he stays, and in that stillness you find a kind of peace that reminds you what love is supposed to feel like. Safe, steady, and real. When a man is falling hard for you, his pride in who you are becomes impossible to hide. He doesn't just admire you in silence. He celebrates you, both in ways the world can see and in ways only you will notice. You'll catch it in the way he looks at you when you're speaking passionately about your goals. You'll hear it in the tone of his voice when he talks about you to others with a spark that says, "I know someone extraordinary." It's not performative, it's not for validation, it's genuine admiration, the kind that runs deep because it comes from respect. He brags about you, not out of ego, but out of awe, whether it's your intelligence, your creativity, your resilience, or the way you carry yourself with strength. He sees it all, and more than that, he wants others to see it too. Not because he needs to prove anything, but because being with you is something he's proud of. He's not just lucky to have you. He knows he is, and he never stops honoring that. He might tell his friends how passionate you are about your dreams. He might tell his family how deeply you care for people. Every little thing you do becomes part of the story he tells about the woman who's captured his heart, but his pride in you doesn't end with praise. It shows in how he supports you. He becomes your biggest fan, not just when you win, but while you're still working toward it. He encourages your ambition. He reminds you of your worth when you doubt it. And he doesn't just clap for you from the sidelines. He gets involved. He offers help. He asks questions. He becomes invested in the things that matter to you, not because he has to, but because your happiness and success have become part of his world. A man who's truly falling doesn't compete with you. Your power doesn't threaten him. It inspires him. He doesn't shrink when you shine. He doesn't pull back when you're growing. In fact, your growth pushes him to grow too. Your strength doesn't intimidate him, it draws him in, because he's not falling for a version of you that stays small. He's falling for your fullest expression, and he wants more of it, not less. This kind of pride is quiet too. It's in the way he watches you from across the room, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but just being yourself. It's in the small ways he uplifts you when no one is watching, the way he speaks life into you after a hard day, the way he pushes you to keep going when you're ready to quit. He believes in you so deeply that it almost becomes a mirror. You begin to see yourself through the way he sees you, and it changes everything. When a man is falling hard, your accomplishments become his joy, your passions become his curiosity, and your voice becomes something he respects, not something he tries to talk over. That's how you know he's not just with you, he's for you. Fully, loudly, quietly, proudly, and in a world that often teaches women to be small or apologetic about who they are, being loved by someone who takes pride in your power is revolutionary. It makes you feel limitless. Because love like that doesn't clip your wings, it helps you fly higher. When a man is falling hard for you, he doesn't just talk about the present. He starts including you in his vision of the future. Not in vague, passing comments, but in clear, intentional actions. He starts using the word we instead of I. Plans aren't made with uncertainty or hesitation. They're made with quiet confidence, because in his heart, you're not just someone he enjoys now, you're someone he wants later. You become part of the picture he's painting in his mind of what's next. His world starts revolving with you in it. Not just on the edge, but at the center. It starts subtly. Maybe he asks your opinion on where he should move next, what you think about a new job opportunity, or how you'd feel about going on a trip together 6 months from now. These aren't just passing questions, they're checks. Emotional checks. He wants to know if your goals align, if you see a future with him too. A man who's falling hard isn't just thinking about what you're doing together next week, and he's thinking about whether you'll still be holding his hand when life gets serious, when the path wins, and when things get real. You won't be left guessing whether he sees you in his long-term story. He'll tell you, maybe not with romantic speeches, but with the way he builds his life to fit around you. He starts showing signs of responsibility, making decisions with more intention, managing time better, not just for himself, but because he's planning for something stable, something lasting. And in that vision, you're a constant. Your presence becomes part of his motivation to grow, to step up, to be the man you deserve. The important thing is, he backs it up with action. Anyone can say someday, but he makes the effort now. He introduces you to the people that matter, his friends, his family. He talks about how you'll spend holidays together. He asks what kind of home you'd love to live in. He's no longer just sharing experiences with you. He's inviting you into his structure, his values, his dreams. That level of inclusion isn't casual. It's serious. It's love that's taking root and growing into something intentional. He starts showing you the parts of his life that are messy, not just the polished surface. He opens up about his fears, his past, his mistakes, not because he wants to burden you, but because he trusts you. He sees you as someone strong enough to walk beside him in truth. A man who is looking at you as part of his forever won't pretend to be perfect. He knows that real love needs honesty, not perfection. And by bringing you into that space, he's not just imagining a future with you. He's already starting to build it. More than that, he aligns his steps with yours. Your ambitions aren't seen as obstacles. They're seen as part of the shared path. He makes space for your dreams too. He wants to know how he can support your future while building his. A man falling hard wants to rise with you, not ahead of you. He's not just falling for the way you make him feel. He's falling for who you are, what you stand for, and what you want to create in the world. And if he's planning to be beside you, he'll make sure you never feel like an afterthought. The future isn't some fantasy with him. It starts with the way he treats you now. Every present moment becomes a seed for what's coming, and that's when you know it's real, when his love stops being about the moment and starts being about the journey. One you walk together, one he's already preparing to protect, nurture, and honor. When a man is truly falling hard for you, you won't have to constantly question his feelings. You won't lie awake replaying mixed signals or decoding the meaning behind his silences. Because when love is real, it brings clarity, not confusion. It doesn't hide behind games, disappear for days, or leave you feeling emotionally starved. Instead, it shows up clearly, calmly, and consistently. He may not use perfect words or grand gestures every day, but you'll feel the certainty in the way he chooses you, again and again, in quiet and bold ways alike. Clarity shows in the way he communicates. You won't be chasing replies or wondering if you're bothering him. He makes time for you even on his busiest days, not because he's obligated, but because he wants to, because you matter. He's not scared of consistency, he embraces it. He doesn't disappear and come back with weak excuses. His presence becomes predictable in the best way, like a steady rhythm you can rely on. That's the gift of real connection, emotional stability. You don't have to guess where you stand because his actions show you where you are with him. You start to realize that he makes you feel safe without trying to impress you. He's not trying to win you through a performance. He's just being real. He opens up, he listens, he remembers. He's emotionally available, not just physically present. He doesn't try to manipulate your emotions to keep you on edge. He doesn't rely on jealousy or mystery to hold your attention. Instead, he gives you something rare in today's world, peace. And peace is a powerful form of love. With that clarity comes a natural ease. You're not constantly doubting yourself. You're not stuck in a cycle of overthinking, that anxious feeling that maybe you're too much, too emotional, too intense. It starts to fade because he embraces you exactly as you are. He doesn't make you feel like you need to shrink to be loved. That's what happens when someone is truly falling. They don't just accept your emotions, they value them. They want to understand your world, not escape it. You won't hear him making vague promises about someday. While keeping you at arm's length, you'll see him taking steps, even small ones, that say, "I'm here, I'm serious." Whether it's committing to spend more time together, sharing long-term goals, or simply checking in on your emotional well-being, he creates a space where love can actually grow. And when he's not sure what you need, he asks. Because he's not trying to guess his way through this. He's trying to show up right. And if something is bothering you, he doesn't get defensive. He listens. He works through it. He doesn't dismiss your concerns or label them as drama. He sees your emotional honesty as a bridge, not a threat. Because that's what love looks like when it's mature and grounded. Clarity through communication and connection through truth. You don't need a map to figure out where he stands. You are his answer. A man falling hard for you will not let you live in emotional limbo. He makes it clear through his time, through his effort, through his respect. Love, in its realest form, gives you peace of mind, not puzzles. And that peace, that quiet confidence in knowing you're wanted, chosen, respected, that's when you know he's not just falling, he's already there.